Welcome back to Weekly Book Reviews with your host, Aunt LaSalle. Today we will be reviewing the biography of former pro baseball player David Ortiz, called Papi, My Story. Stay tuned, you're in for a good one today. This 288-page book is written by David Ortiz himself, along with co-author Michael Holly. It is written in the first-person point of view as Ortiz describes different events throughout his life. Big Papi was 40 years old when he first started writing this autobiography. The book starts out with Papi explaining how the greatest DH in history, with more home runs, more hits, more runs scored, and more RBI than any other DH in history, almost never played baseball. Growing up as a kid in the Dominican Republic, Ortiz was obsessed with basketball, his idols being Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson. His father wanted young Ortiz to pursue a baseball career, though. His father had played lots of baseball during his day and wanted his son to follow in his footsteps. Ortiz's mother also had a big impact on his life. Even though his mother and his father were not seeing eye to eye during Ortiz's childhood, and they would eventually separate, they put their differences aside to keep David and his brothers and sisters off the streets of the Dominican Republic so they would have a clean future. Ortiz was naturally a very talented baseball player. He was a big left-handed hitter who could pound the ball at the plate. He became inspired by Minnesota Twins center fielder and future Hall of Famer Kirby Puckett. Ever since he saw Kirby lead his team to victory in Game 6 of the 1991 World Series, Ortiz was determined to make it to the big leagues. Coincidentally, the first team Ortiz would ever play a major league game with would be the Minnesota Twins. Big Papi was never able to thrive as a player on this team, as he had a horrible relationship with the team manager, Tom Kelly. He was never able to settle his conflict with his manager, but the problem resolved itself when he was traded to the Red Sox in 2003. Upon being traded to the Red Sox, he made a lifelong friend in the well-known Manny Ramirez. Big Papi looked up to Manny and enjoyed playing with him for many years. Ortiz would go on to win 3 World Series with the Sox in 2004, 2007, and 2013. Although Ortiz enjoyed the overwhelming success he had with the Red Sox, it wasn't without some major struggles and conflicts in his life. One of the conflicts Ortiz faced was staying close with his family. Playing professional baseball originally started making Ortiz lose touch with his beloved mother, but as he progressed in his career, he realized this and spent more time with her. The biggest conflict Ortiz would face would be the PED controversy in 2009. It was claimed that Ortiz was on a list for players who had tested positive to performance-enhancing drugs back in 2003. In 2009, word got out about this, and Ortiz took a lot of heat for it. What the results didn't show is what drug actually caused the test, so nobody was really sure if he actually was using during this time. And Ortiz was taking over-the-counter legal vitamin supplements at this time. Being associated with Manny Ramirez couldn't have helped his case, though, because Manny Ramirez was one of the players found positive. The situation was shrouded in mystery, but the problem was resolved when Papi came out in a press conference and urged the reporters that he never took steroids. Thankfully, the conflict just blew over in the following months. Ortiz ends the book talking about the day after his last baseball game. My favorite page in the book is the last page because it wraps up an amazing career in a very emotional way, and with words from my all-time favorite baseball player, Derek Jeter. The last page is as follows. They were my brothers and sisters too. For 14 years they had encouraged me more than they ever knew, with their passion, their cheers, and even their tears. After I woke up the next morning, I sat in my family room, where a thick book rested on the coffee table. It was the album from the Yankees, and I paged through it. Joe Torre joked that he wished I'd retired in 2003. Jorge Posada, in perfect handwritten Spanish, said that I was a friend and brother. Joe Girardi talked about baseball, but said he was more impressed with the way I stood up for the city of Boston in 2013. They were all beautiful sentiments, including the one from Derek Jeter, who spoke to the new chapter in my life. Jeter wrote that I'd had a great career with awards, championships, and hard work. But now he wrote, "It's time for you to relax." The setting of the book is Haina, Dominican Republic, Fenway Park, and Metropolitan Stadium. A good example of situational irony happens when Ortiz learns a valuable lesson from his minor league coach, when the coach saved all the money he had previously taken from Big Papi and returned all of it to him at the end of the season. No one expected this, since Ortiz made it sound like the coach was such a tough guy. A turning point in Ortiz's life and in the book comes when Ortiz is traded to the Red Sox. He now has a chance to play full-time and be treated with respect. Moving to Boston would forever change Big Papi's life in ways he could not imagine at the time of the trade. Verbal irony occurs in Ortiz's life when, after being rejected by the Marlins, David's father says that it is the Marlins' loss, since David is going to be a professional baseball player. In this quote, Ortiz is talking about how lucky he is to have made it out of the Dominican Republic and create a life for himself in the United States. Although he has a new privileged life in the U.S., he will never forget where he was born and raised. I chose this quote because it really shows you who David Ortiz is and what he stands for. This quote is significant because Big Papi is known for being one of the clutchest hitters of all time. For him to say he never felt pressure walking up to the plate shows how difficult and dangerous life could be in the Dominican Republic. This quote is important because it shows how much Ortiz valued his family, even though he began to see his family less and less as his professional baseball career developed. I chose this quote because it shows David Ortiz's resilience and strength through injury and the media attacking him constantly. This quote is important because the girl that David Ortiz approached during this scene would be his future wife. It also shows his outrageous confidence that he had with everything he did.